Our story begins, as many do, with the word of the Lord, and it comes to a man named Jonah. God gives him a difficult command, a truly heavy one. He's to journey east to the great city of Nineveh. Now, Nineveh, that was the capital of Assyria, Israel's most feared and hated enemy. But Jonah, instead of obeying, does the exact opposite. He flees. He completely rejects God's command and runs. He heads straight for the port of Jaffa, finds a ship bound for Tarshish, about as far away as you could get, the very edge of the known world, and he buys a ticket. But you can't outrun God. Out on the open sea, the Lord hurls a mighty wind, and a violent storm just swallows the ship. The terrified sailors knew this was no ordinary storm. They were certain it was an act of God, and they were terrified for their lives. They decide to cast lots to figure out who on board was to blame for this divine anger. So while these sailors are desperately praying to their own gods and throwing cargo overboard to lighten the ship, Jonah is fast asleep down below. They shake him awake, and just as they cast the lots, the truth comes out. The lot falls squarely on him. He confesses everything, his rebellion, his God, and he tells them there's only one way to calm the sea. To save themselves, they have to throw him overboard. They actually refused at first. They tried with all their might to row back to land, straining against the massive waves, but it was hopeless. So finally, with no other choice, they pray to Jonah's God for forgiveness, and they cast him into the raging sea. And just like that, instantly, the storm stopped. The sea grew calm. The sailors were just in awe, and they offered sacrifices to the Lord. But as for Jonah, as he sank into the deep, the Lord sent a great fish to swallow him whole. And there, in the absolute, crushing darkness of the ocean's depths, Jonah was inside the belly of that great fish for 3 days and 3 nights. From that dark, watery tomb, surrounded by the depths of the sea, Jonah finally calls out to his God. He cries out from what feels like the belly of Sheol, the realm of the dead. He gives thanks for being rescued, and he commits, at last, to fulfill the vow that he had made. And so the Lord commanded the fish, and it vomited Jonah out onto dry land. He was given a second chance, and the word of the Lord came to him once again. This time, Jonah obeyed. He traveled to Nineveh, a truly massive city, so big it was said to take 3 whole days just to cross it. He walked a day's journey into the heart of the city and delivered this simple, blunt message of doom. And something incredible happened. The people of Nineveh, they actually believed it. A fast was declared. Everyone, from the most powerful official to the poorest commoner, put on sackcloth as a sign of mourning. The news spread like wildfire all the way to the king. And the king himself rose from his throne, took off his royal robes, covered himself with sackcloth, and sat in the dust. He then issued a decree for the entire city, every single person, and even the animals, to fast and turn away from their evil ways. So when God saw that their repentance was real, that they had truly changed their ways, he relented. He did not bring the destruction he had promised. But this act of divine mercy, this incredible forgiveness, it made Jonah furious. So Jonah leaves the city, goes out to a spot to the east, builds himself a little shelter, and sits there in the shade, just stewing, waiting to see what would happen. Then God caused a leafy plant to grow up right over Jonah, giving him shade from the hot sun and making him a little more comfortable. And Jonah was very happy about this plant. But then, at dawn the very next day, God sent a worm. The worm chewed through the root of the plant, and it withered away and died. As the sun beat down on his head, a scorching east wind started to blow. Jonah grew faint, and in his misery, he actually prayed for death. And it was right then that God spoke to the angry prophet. But Jonah just clings to his anger. His pity for this one withered plant, a temporary comfort he did nothing to earn, is so great that he would rather die than see it gone. And then God gently reveals Jonah's own heart to him. He shows him the sharp contrast between his deep sorrow for a simple plant and his complete lack of pity for the people of Nineveh. That city, God reminded him, had more than 120,000 people who, in their spiritual ignorance, didn't know their right hand from their left. And there were many animals as well. And with that question just hanging in the air,
a question about mercy and compassion and the boundless nature of God's concern, the story of Jonah comes to an end.